Team Super 6 Knowledge-Based Lab Interpretation for Clinicians at the Point of Care Deliverable Number 2. The Super 6 team consists of Brian Basinger, Nikhil Patel, Masuk Muhyiddin, Chris Bauer, Arun Kumar Mudukari, and Rob Attaway. Here is our Gantt chart showing we are through the items for deliverable number 2.
I'm going to talk about the architecture piece. To develop the LFD application, Super 6 team chose 3-tier architecture based on the MVC design pattern. This software design pattern is very popular for developing web applications / thin client applications. The 3 tiers in this application are the business logic tier, presentation tier, and the data access tier. The business logic tier is primarily used for business processing, business rule validation, and all will happen in this tier, and this tier run on the server, application server, which is the Tomcat. And the next tier is a presentation tier. This tier controls interactions between the model and the view, and the main component is a servlet controller. And the third tier is called the data access tier. This tier is responsible for managing all database related operations like CRUD for managing and storing the data. Good morning. This slide I'm talking about is architecture diagram, which is primarily focused on deployment architecture. You can see how the physicians will be going to interact through the browser. Either they can use the laptop or they can use the tablet, either one, but primarily it's a thin client. So as long as there is a browser, we are good to go. And then I'm showing the application server, which is primarily the Tomcat server. And then we are going to use a database, which is called LFT database, which is primarily either it could be on the Postgres or it could be MySQL server. And from the application server, we are going to make a REST call through the cloud to access the 5 RESTful services. These RESTful services are something hosted by the Georgia Tech services. So we'll be issuing a call, we'll be invoking the RESTful service through the cloud. And then we are getting back the data to our MVC pattern. So the IDE used for source code development is primarily based on either IntelliJ with a JDK 5, 6, or 7 version with a J2EE component, or it could be Eclipse, which is primarily Eclipse Neon or the Oxygen with a JDK 5 or 6 or 7 with a J2EE component. The client-side scripting for validation and decoration is done through JavaScript, HTML/JSP, and the cascading style sheet, which is CSS. And the application server we choose to develop this application is a Tomcat 7.x or 8.x application server. And the database we choose is either it could be PostgreSQL or MySQL. And this application is supposed to run on Google Chrome, or Internet Explorer, or Mozilla Firefox, or Safari browser, or our browser base, which can run on any kind of a platform. Thank you.
Here's the proposed UI login. It's a basic login, likely to use OAuth 2. The prototype will just use basic codes and logins to get the job done for the prototype. The login is required for obtaining scopes and permissions when accessing data. Here's the proposed UI search and query page. It's a basic standard exploring interface, hierarchically based, contextually sensitive, providing a basic search. As each test is interrogated on the results side, an analysis is run on the data and presented to the provider in the details area. Additional research was done using lab tests online. It provides a large quantity of additional metadata for all laboratory tests, as well as defines conditions that might be related to the lab test. WebMD also provides many similar things through liver function panels, and liver chemistry guidelines, which was provided by Dr. Park, is also a great resource in understanding what content may be provided to the end user. The next steps needed are to define the scope related to the number of tests to analyze. You can see how many tests there are based on the lab tests online for liver panels. The language and condition used to analyze the different test results. Define how to handle results from different laboratories because each lab has their own range and normals. And for analysis, define if the same rules apply to all tests or do all tests require standardization first. Finally, define how to handle different output based on test type.